This report has been signed by all the members of the grand jury and the grand jury foreman, who says, after hearing from the above witness and reviewing the evidence duly presented to the grand jury, it is the opinion of the grand jury that no crimes have been committed by any current or former city councilman, the city attorney, or anyone associated with any of the above land transactions, and that this matter should be closed. Mr. Souza, you have the floor.
Thank you. That was kind of long-winded. First of all, when I first started coming to council meetings, there would be like 6 people, 7 people. Today we have a pretty good crowd. That's indicative of a number of things, both the concerns of the citizens and the democratic process. The citizens of Crossville elected me to do a job. They elected me to be a councilman, look out after their interests, and I made a campaign pledge that I would look into purchases of property and other irregularities. Different people have called me since the newspaper printed their story and since the radio station printed their story. And I want to say that those stories are presented in a manner that came from the district attorney and that they were responsible, and the journalistic competence that was presented was good, even though it not persecuted, but even though it put me in a bad light. But that's what the media is about, reporting to the public. The grand jury had its findings, and I have no fault with the grand jury's findings. The grand jury was correct. There was insufficient evidence to prove that there was a criminal act. But what's not written in there, ladies and gentlemen, is that's not what I presented to the district attorney. I presented 6 cases. My argument is there's a conspiracy to defraud the taxpayers of Crossville. Conspiracy to defraud the taxpayers of Crossville, a trend. The only thing the grand jury can hear is what the DA says. That's the only thing they can vote on. I presented my case for an hour and a half, at which time the DA tried to stop me 3 times, at which time I asked the grand jury if they wanted to hear my presentation, and they said they did. And believe me, if I could read expressions, they were overwhelmed. But there was insufficient evidence. But my files were not the evidence. My files were the probable cause. Not one single witness, not one, that I put in there to corroborate what I alleged was ever interviewed. If you want to call that a thorough investigation, I'd say no. There were no money trails, because when I pointed out where a specific money trail was, the DA refused to subpoena that money trail. Now, I'm working from the outside in, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't submit, whatever he said, 900 documents. I submitted 1,400 documents, okay? And 6 files on 6 cases, not 3 cases. The whole gist of the whole thing is threefold. My files, the witnesses, and subpoenaing where that money got astray, and it never happened. Now, when I started this 14 months ago, turned stuff into the FBI and the TBI and the district attorney, the TBI asked me not to contact the FBI anymore, because they did not want to be working one agency against the other. I thought about that, and I thought, well, that's a correct thing to do. I'm not going to play one agency against the other. So I stepped back. That investigation sat idle for 14 months. It was put together at the last minute. And I'm not at all sure that the timing wasn't planned for both tonight's events and the outcome of the DA's report to pull some of the publicity off of the change of the downtown. The downtown fell right in line with the same time. Now, I have asked the U.S. Attorney's Office to look into this. I've asked the FBI to look into this. There are petitions going around right now that are going to ask the governor to look into this. I am not walking away with my tail between my legs, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe some people think I ought to quit. Just stop this. But I'll tell you something, I don't know how to quit. I've never quit in my life. And I believe that I found $2 million funneled off of the city. $2 million. And that was taken with the ink pen. And boys and girls, they're good. They're really good. And if anybody thinks that I was foolish enough to give the DA everything at one whack, they're mistaken. I put enough out there for him to act, and he failed to act. He just processed the paper. In discussing it with him, it was as though I was discussing it with the defense attorneys. There was not a thorough investigation. There was a whitewash.
Mr. Souza,
I have the floor, sir.
I think you've had enough time. You've got 2 more minutes.
No, you have never cut anybody off in time before. Why would you do it now?
I'm tired of you taking up so much of the council time. I think it's time for you to say what you mean, make your point, and let's go on the rest of the meeting.
How many people in here want to listen to me? Okay. Actually, I had come to the conclusion, I just thought it was rather rude to be shut off, since nobody's ever been shut off on the council before. Now, I'll say this. I ask all the citizens of Crossville to write the governor and the U.S. Attorney's Office and ask them to conduct an investigation. I want to say something else. I was not swore to secrecy. The grand jury swore to secrecy. But one thing the foreman did say to me, he says, Mr. Souza, this is above us. You need to take this someplace else. Those were his words. I conclude my presentation. Thank you.